Hi, everybody. This is EMPOWHER through real estate. I'm Francesca.
And I'm Jessie.
And this is episode 3.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I can't believe we're already here.
I know. It's crazy. We actually stuck to a schedule, which is insane. Because normally Francesca and I start something and then it never actually happens. So it's perfect.
Well, we're holding ourselves accountable. Yes. And we really want to reach a lot of people with this. So I feel
and have fun.
And it is more fun than our usual.
Exactly. I mean, our regular job's fun, but we like being on a podcast too.
I mean, our usual attempts.
Yeah, our usual attempts of, I don't even know what.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited. I definitely got a pumpkin coffee today from Starbucks.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, I'm very excited.
It was a good surprise?
It was a really great surprise. It is a secret pumpkin coffee because technically it's not out yet.
She's just special.
I am. It pays to be kind to your barista people.
Yeah.
It's the second
and your realtor.
Secret, and your realtor. The second secret pumpkin I've gotten, and let me tell you, it makes my day.
Yeah. It helps that you're pregnant and people want to give you things.
How would they know, though? All they see is like me in the window like this.
We were just talking about how Francesca's finally showing, and she's like the cutest pregnant person ever.
Got my little bump.
Yes. I miss like those days of me like having a belly and like touching it and rubbing it all the time.
I forget until I look down. And then I'm like, oh yeah, there you are. Hey, you're growing. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's the size of an avocado this week.
Oh my God. That's awesome. It's growing so fast. What's your due date again?
February 7th.
Okay.
An Aquarius.
I love that. I don't know anything about
I'm excited.
that.
I'm excited.
What's an Aquarius known for?
I think they're very intellectual.
Okay.
That's there.
Well, what everyone told me was that Haynes, which is what again? Oh my God. He's same as you.
Pisces
are very emotional men.
Yes.
Is what I heard. And they're also very studious.
Well, that's the thing. You have a Pisces dad as well. So do I.
Yes. And my dad's very emotional, which is a great quality to have in a man because they care about things.
Exactly. So you can see where it can be very, very good.
Yes, exactly.
Emotional intelligence is more important.
Key.
Yeah.
Yes.
Than so much.
Definitely. Yeah. So today on the 3rd episode, we kind of gave you guys a teaser that we had no idea what we were going to talk about during this podcast. We thought a lot about it. We talked about buyers last time. This time we wanted to talk a little bit about sellers and why now is a good time to sell, and really just jump into the factors of what makes it a good time to sell right now. Obviously, you've heard about what's been happening really for the past probably 5 years in Portland, Maine, which is just, there's a huge boom to move here. Mm-hmm. Since COVID, it's been amplified. And during COVID, everyone realized they really can live anywhere and they can do their job anywhere. And Portland, Maine was a perfect place for people to come to for that.
Yeah, and I'll say it very plainly, it's been absolutely crazy.
Yes.
The influx of people moving to Maine, specifically the greater Portland market, has been insane. And you either love it, you hate it. We obviously like it. Yeah. We don't mind it. Yeah. But it's a really wonderful place to live. The secret's out and people are flocking here.
Yeah. Crazy statistic. In 2020 and 2021, more than half of the deals I had for buyers were from out of state.
Yeah.
Which before, I mean, I think typically there wasn't more than like 10% or something from out-of-staters coming to Maine.
That sounds correct to me. That's before my time.
Yeah.
But from all of the education I've got, everyone I've talked to, they've reiterated the same thing.
Yeah.
It was a huge influx very quickly. Mm-hmm. We turned into a migratory state.
Yeah.
It does make it a little more difficult for local buyers on occasion, but that's where having an educated and good realtor comes in, and we can certainly talk about that again on another episode, but this episode's all about sellers.
Yes.
So it is a seller's market here still. I know in other areas of the country, things have shifted and slowed down moderately. Mm-hmm. That is not the case here whatsoever.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about selling, it's an excellent time to sell. Simply because demand is so incredibly high.
Yeah.
There's many reasons, obviously, but first and foremost, there is a buyer for your home.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we mentioned a little bit last time in the last episode, supply and demand, right? Mm-hmm. That economics major in me.
That's right.
There's a lot of demand, but there's no inventory. So sellers are getting top dollar if it's priced appropriately, if you have an agent helping you make sure that you have a successful listing with great videography, photography, all the things you need to do. Mm-hmm. Sellers are getting top dollar, and by top dollar, they're getting 5, 10, 15% over asking, typically with 5 to 10 offers on everything, really in greater Portland. Or if you have lakefront, that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where people are flocking from out of state. So the influx of people, as well as the first-time home buyer, the people who are downsizing or upsizing, really anyone in Greater Portland, there's just no inventory, and everyone's getting so much for their home, which is awesome for sellers.
It is. It's really wonderful. And I want to touch on two things that you noted. One, inventory is down. For example, last year at this time, there were 603 active single-family homes on the market in Greater Portland.
That's single and condo, actually.
Okay, single and condo in Greater Portland. Now there's only 501. That shows you the decline. We had a 20% decline first 6 months of last year over the first 6 months of this year. So we even have less inventory than last year. Demand is the same, if not more. And that is a good, I mean, if that doesn't show you why it's so easy for sellers to sell their homes right now, I don't know what will.
Well, in addition to that, it's high. There's less market supply, as well as the interest rates are higher, and people are still buying.
Which is, I mean, that just goes to show you how badly people need to get into homes.
I think last year in the summer, it was like 4.5%, if I remember correctly, and people were complaining about that.
Exactly.
Well, it's like 7.5 to 8 now, and people are still buying. So,
and those buyers are scratching their heads and a little mad at themselves that they waited.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'd be.
Same. Yeah. So people who are scared are sellers that are scared that there aren't buyers because the interest rates are higher. It's just not true. That's a huge myth.
That's a myth. That's
not true.
Not the case. And there's also, you talked about working with a realtor to help you understand exactly why your home's going to sell. And how to price your home correctly. That is still just as important as it's ever been. Overpricing your home is still detrimental to the sale of your home. And I think, what is the statistic that those that use a realtor make on average 15 to 20% more on the sale of their home? So if commission is something you're worried about, that's just built into how much more you're going to make on your home anyway. I mean, by a long shot. You need to work with somebody that can really show you what this market can do and market your property correctly. Marketing's everything today.
You wouldn't do your own surgery. You certainly would not be your own lawyer. So you definitely should not be your own agent.
That's right. I like that. Keep it simple.
You just shouldn't. I mean,
I'm not pulling my own teeth. You hire somebody for that.
Do you have teeth pulled?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I just thought of the most extreme thing I could. I've definitely met some people that are like, oh yeah, I'll do that myself.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that anytime.
There's a crazy person everywhere, but don't be the for sale by owner.
Yeah,
crazy
seriously,
person.
don't. You won't make as much money, and you're gonna have a nightmare with paperwork.
That's right. You don't even know what you need.
Yeah, exactly. So many and you don't know the laws.
That's right.
Yeah.
No one wants to get sued.
I know.
All right. So things to consider when selling your home. We've talked about a couple of them. Already. And I guess the first question on most people's minds right now, because it is more difficult to buy than it is to sell, is where am I going to go next? So what is it that you're telling your clients?
There's a couple of different options. Number one, if you don't have anywhere to go, then there's a couple options. Like I said, I was going to give you my story. So for example, let's give you a story. So I personally am under contract with my home. We didn't give that update. I know in the last episode we talked about that a little bit. I got a rent back. So one of the biggest things that, and most important, I think, for sellers to know is that there are options that you can do close quick. So you get that money in hand.
That you can build into your contract.
Exactly. So having a rent back pretty much allows you typically to close quickly, get that money in hand, and then be able to shop for a new home while you have a rent back. Typically with financing, that would be 60 days max. If someone pays cash, it can be longer. But that gives you a 60-day buffer to find a home with that money in hand. The other option is there are loan options that we actually have banks that will pay for your home up front.
Yes, in cash. Turn you into a cash buyer.
Exactly, as a buyer. And then you sell your home on the back end with very little risk. It's a very interesting...
And that's a newer model that we've seen come out really in the last 6 months. That's when I was introduced to it anyway. And it gives you a lot more power as a buyer, obviously, being a cash buyer. Obviously, on the stipulation that you will sell your home afterwards. You can't just jet off. And have both properties. That won't work out.
It's a very it's a very low fee. I actually have done it with one of my clients, and pretty much I think it's like 3% that you pay up front, and then you get portioned back when you actually sell your home.
Well worth it to give you that leg up when you're a buyer.
Exactly. So if you're worried about being that person risking you sell your home and then you only rent back for 60 days and you're scared you're not going to have any home to go to because you can't find anything in time, this is kind of the far other end. You can find a home first with purchasing power of cash and then sell your home on the back end.
And let's be clear too, so many home sellers have such an abundance of equity in their home that small fee isn't going to put a dent in what they're making. I mean, I learned today that 39% of Americans own their homes outright. So if you're sitting on all that equity, that's just, I mean, it's a waste. It's a waste. You can do so much with that. If you have goals of really increasing your wealth, you should talk to a realtor about how we can help you utilize the equity in your home to help generate more wealth for you.
Totally.
Especially if you're somebody that's maybe later on in life considering downsizing, you have all this equity in your home. There's a lot we can do to work with that.
Right. So to reiterate, rent backs.
That's right.
That loan product. And kind of the third option would be to have a long closing, which isn't as strong because if you are depending on your home sale to have that money in hand, it puts some sort of restriction on for you to move forward because you have a contingency. That's the third option. Fourth option is just finding a rental in the meantime.
And I was going to say, for a fourth option, I guess we'll call it a fifth. Do you have family or friends that you can stay with for a short period of time?
Yeah.
If you just know it's going to be a couple months, you need to get out. You'll have the cash in hand from the sale of your home. You're just going to wrap that into your next home buying process. But it gives you a lot more leverage if you have that much more money in the bank.
Yeah.
That potentially could be a very short period of time. I would say 3 months max if you're working, again, with a qualified and a good realtor.
Yeah.
And we can make that happen for you. And then, you're not necessarily wasting money on rent.
Yeah. So those are really your options. So that's 5 valid options.
Yeah.
So something you'll do is when you actually have your seller consult, we talk a little bit about your home, what we think it's worth, talk to you about all of our marketing that we do.
Yes.
We'll also talk about this. So we'll talk about what makes the most sense for you. What do you feel comfortable with?
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't feel comfortable with a rent back. There's a lot of people who are totally fine with it.
Right. Or who have no idea what it is.
That I've never heard of it. Or they just don't know they don't know what their options are.
Right.
Especially. And that's why you're hiring a professional.
Exactly. And right back to the basics, there's so many sellers that don't know what their home's worth.
Well,
Yeah, they just don't know.
They look at Zillow.
They look at Zillow, which is notoriously inaccurate.
Yeah. It's right sometimes, but I would say like 9 out of 10 times it's probably wrong.
Yeah, and it can be wrong like 20% up or down. So I just wouldn't take that risk.
Yes. No.
Contact a qualified professional. Don't leave money on the table.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's so over, I'm like, where the heck did you get that number?
Exactly. Or they just hope. They're like, oh, my neighbor down the street. And we explain, well, they have 500 more square feet than you have in this home. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yep.
There's just a lot of factors.
Totally.
Another thing we'll talk to you about when we sit down with you is what you need to do to your home to prepare for the sale.
Yeah. This is a big conversation.
It is. It's a big conversation, and we're not naive as to think that it isn't potentially a lot of work on your end.
Totally.
You've just gone through this
I was
recently.
just going to say, I literally just went through it. So having at that time, a 4-month-old baby and trying to do everything to get the house staged and ready took us 6 weeks.
And
where it probably could have taken us like 3, but with a baby, it was so hard.
Well, you also had a baby and you both work. I mean, it's
true.
Not many people can just, take time off of work to prep their home for sale. I mean, I don't know about you, but I like to make money. So
occasionally I do.
Exactly. So it's hard to do that, to balance it all, and to balance family and to balance extracurricular goodness. That word.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But there's a lot that you need to do. I would say the first thing and the most important thing is declutter. There's nothing worse than walking into a house and just seeing things stacked everywhere.
Minimalistic is good.
Minimalistic is good. You don't want buyers coming in and being distracted by all of your things.
Totally.
Depersonalize a little bit. I'm not saying take down all the family photos, but just make it easier for a buyer to come in and picture themselves in the home.
Yep.
That's huge.
Definitely.
Clean.
Painting was key.
Yeah.
I think the cheapest thing you probably can do is paint. Yeah. Is it annoying? Yes. I absolutely hate painting.
Is it time consuming? Yes.
We painted every room in our house probably, and the ceilings. And I had to do that while Kyle watched the baby because Kyle's not into painting, and
Anthony and I to a T.
Absolutely hated it. So that's an easy thing to do, time consuming, but it makes your house look so much better, and it shines in such a good light.
It does it so much cleaner and crisper, and then your photos are going to come out incredible.
Yes.
That's also key. You want a realtor that can introduce you to the right photographer to really showcase your home. You want your home looking bright, clean, airy.
Right.
All of
Pictures
those,
are the first impression.
They are. And they're more important than you realize, because a lot of buyers, especially buyers coming from out of state, may look at your home online first and even only go through a virtual tour of your home before submitting an offer.
Yeah.
I have sold homes where I've never set foot in the home.
Me too. I just did that with a plot of land on Great Diamond Island.
Yeah. I know that sounds bizarre, but it happens every day now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I would say those are your biggest things. You definitely need to sit down with an agent to talk about, have them go through the house and tell you what exactly you need to do. Right. I would say in addition to those things that we mentioned, landscape, just like putting some new mulch down, making it look pretty, have some bright bright flowers. Those are easy things you can do. So I would suggest that. But yeah, those are...
I think that's the gist for the most part of that.
Yeah. I think that...
that's a great thing that we should touch on.
Yeah,
so
we both looked at our notes.
I know, we're like, ooh la la. So I had an interesting selling experience recently where this certainly was a factor. Mm-hmm. How long have you owned your home? If you have owned your home for 2 years, then you are exempt from capital gains taxes. So as an individual, that means you're exempt for up to $250,000. As a married person or somebody that files jointly, I believe, you're exempt up to $500,000. So if you haven't owned your home for at least 2 years, you will be on the hook for those taxes.
Unless you have some sort of qualifying event that puts you in hardship or something like that. But yes.
Essentially, you have to petition for hardship. But that can really cut into the proceeds from your home sale if you're going to have to be setting aside money to pay the government.
Right. So if your agent does not tell you that, that is a red flag right off the bat, that they just want the quick commission.
They want the quick sale.
I've told people they should wait because of that, and it's great. You have to know that type of stuff.
Exactly. You want to be very clear with them, give them their options, explain to them the consequences of what could potentially happen if they sell before then. If they still have to or want to, obviously we're happy to help, but it's important to be upfront and honest.
Totally.
Yeah. Always.
Always.
In this business, always.
Number one is integrity.
Yes.
Honestly. Whoa, Integrity Mortgage. Look at that.
Look at that. Our sponsors. Yes.
So integrity is key. My whole business is just based around honesty, integrity, and like building relationships. And I just take that very seriously. And I know you do too.
I do too. It's key. It's what keeps people trusting you and coming back to work with you. And it's why I can sleep so good at night. And it's why I'm friends with so many of my clients after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
And those relationships are fantastic. You never know who you're going to meet.
Totally.
And who you're going to talk to for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Reputation's everything.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Taylor Swift reputation.
Oh my God, yeah. No snakes in this room.
No. All right, so next week, I think we're going to just have a little story time. Mm-hmm. So we're excited to have that. Francesca's going to tell a story, and I'll just kind of be the person poking her and ask her questions.
It's a good story. It's a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Not scandalous. I don't know. It's a little. I guess it's we'll pretend it's the beginning of spooky season, which it kind of is in my opinion.
Oh my God!
I'm so ready.
I can't.
It's a cautionary tale. Tales from the crypt.
Yes, there you go. Oh my God! I can't wait for our October podcast.
Oh my God! People are gonna hate me. I'll just in here with my witch hat or something.
Oh my God. Anyway, thanks guys. We are signing off. We want to say thank you to Integrity Mortgage, also, who's our sponsor, and we're excited to have the next episode out in a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Au revoir.